Hi, friends. It's Joe Chadburn, the Ambassador Network Director here at World Missionary Press. I'm back with Missionary Pat Caspary, and we've had some wonderful conversations and looking forward to this one. We're going to be talking about crowd distribution and perhaps some other things. So welcome, Pat.
Thank you so much, Joe. Good to be with you.
All right. I really enjoyed our conversation on friendship evangelism. What do you have to share with us about this crowd distribution that you speak of?
Okay, so, all you're doing is sharing. That's all. And people share stuff, pamphlets that are advertising, how to get your car waxed, or they're sharing, come down the street to get a suit from us. We're selling a discount such and such over there. So they're passing those things out. Why not give a booklet? So that's why I like how World Missionary Press is on the streets of Hong Kong and different places, and they're for the Every Home for Christ kind of thing, where they bag with the booklets. We were so surprised to meet up with the brethren out there and say, "Are you kidding me? This is so wonderful. We know these people." And so that's crowds going by. Like anytime, I don't know, 4th of July or whatever, we were in Indiana for that, and it was wonderful to go again to experience the land of the free, home of the brave, because it's fireworks which are celebrating the 4th of July and independence and so forth and freedoms. But in Asia, of course, it's fireworks for other reasons. It's a Buddhist holiday or whatever, and so it's nice to that kind of gathering. If there was a way to pass out things at a gate and say, here's this with this advertisement or whatever, here's this with $5. I'm just kidding. But here's this also. And people don't know. They're not saying, you don't have to explain, this is something that you will learn about how to repent and how to get right with God and how to not go to hell. You just share, here's good news, and you'll like it. Here's a good booklet. Here's something it's brought me hope. Something, or just pass it out. But friendship evangelism is one thing, and then there's crowd evangelism, crowd distribution of World Missionary Press booklets. Well, I've told the story in some of the sessions that you've got about how I was in Hong Kong and they were commemorating the observance of June 4th. Which was when the massacre happened in Beijing, China, in 1989 on June 4th. And so in Hong Kong, where they have the freedom to gather, still, it's getting less and less freedoms now. But the government tried to warn them, don't go out because of COVID. But they said, are you kidding? We're going to make it known that there was a massacre, and we're going to remember our countrymen that were massacred on June 4th. So anyway, at that particular
now, was that massacre Tiananmen Square? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's Tiananmen Square, Beijing, June 4th, 1989. So because of that, then they observe it every year, and it's been 31 years now. So I've been to several of them, and what I would do is I would take a rolling suitcase full of booklets with me. And I have different kinds. I have mostly World Missionary Press, but some are chick tracts or other things. And so I bring them along. But I put up a sign on my rolling suitcase and I say, free booklet about freedom. Now, this is what people are looking for. And they're looking for a free booklet about hope, free booklet about true life, whatever. Let me get back to that. Just yesterday, I saw on Facebook, there was a movie of some gal standing on the streets with her mask over her eyes and her hands out. And I think her sign said free hugs to whoever needs them. And there were a long line. This thing went on for 10, 15, 20 minutes. I don't know, a long line of people, one after the other, reaching out and hugging this gal that was just making it available to get some, hug. And so people are looking for that, and they don't know it. Or people are looking for that, and they blatantly know it. And so anyway, at the commemoration on June 4th, which happens in Hong Kong. I went out there with a rolling suitcase, a sign that said free booklet about freedom. And Joe, one of these years, or maybe a couple of years in a row, and it's 55,000 people. The pouring rain came down at the closing of their observance, and I stood out there in the pouring rain with this sign that was and I still got it. It's got all the ink running, and people stopped and said, "Whoa, what's this?" And free booklet about freedom. I couldn't get the booklets to them fast enough. There was dozens around me receiving the booklets. It fell on the ground in the rain. They didn't care. They were waiting. And people in Hong Kong, they haven't got time like the people in backwoods wherever, in remote villages. They got all the time in the world. But in Hong Kong, they act like they're really super busy. So they got their cell phone and they're on their laptop and they're on their tablet, and they got their kid in their hands and they got an umbrella in their hands. They stood there and waited for me to give them the booklet. So crowd evangelism. The other thing is, being on a bus in Thailand or China or Burma, I've noted that there's soldiers. Now, can you reach out to those soldiers? The whole busload of them. And I just wave them and go, "I got something for you." And it helps to know their language a little bit. But even if you didn't, they go like, "What did he say? I don't know, but he's got something." So really, in China, and no kidding, in places I've been, I roll down the window of the car, I roll down the window of the car I'm in and hold the booklet out. Cars come by, in moving cars down the highway, people come out and snatch the booklets from me. Just because, I don't know, they say, what's that guy got? I want one. Maybe it's a free pass, maybe it's a lottery. I don't know. People don't know. So they're receiving it and they take it and they wave to us as they continue. So we've done that with the busload of soldiers, busload of Muslims. What? Yeah, here's the stoplight, you're at it, or the stop sign. And people are ahead, Muslims standing in a cattle truck and going through town in Thailand. And I ran across the highway and gave them all booklets, and they all waved to me. Maybe they didn't know exactly what it was or that it was about Jesus, but I said good news, and bring you hope and true love and true life and stuff. So I think, can you do it? Go ahead and do it. And then there's a way in which monks have been seeming like they're unapproachable in Thailand or Burma or whatever. But I've gone into their temples, hundreds of temples, and I've left booklets on the altars and in the idols' hands. And I put them on the kneeling pads where they kneel down. But also where the monks take off their shoes, they all take off their shoes in Thailand. And it's a good practice because the streets are dirty. And they go into the temple in bare feet. So I put booklets in their shoes by the hundreds. And then also I see monks lining up alongside the road, like they've got begging bowls in their hands. They're going to beg for 5 o'clock in the morning. And they're all lined up, a couple hundred of them at a time. I'll stop the taxi and get out of the taxi and go run over and put a booklet in each bowl. Monks, I guess they figure, maybe this is destiny or something, or this is my destiny. So they don't have this thing, oh no, I can't take that. They receive it. And so soldiers, yeah. Muslims, yeah. Monks, yeah. I don't care. We were in Costco and I'll tell the story. And then I something was happening where we had to call a manager to ask her a question. And then the manager was sort of in a tizzy because several other things were going on. And I said, I'd like to give you some good news. And she said, I needed exactly this today. And I thought, well, can you really pass out to a manager? Can you pass out wherever? But I've also wanted to mention, because I've done it before, I've even been on the streets of New Orleans at 3 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes there's Mardi Gras or something else. I don't go to those things, but I noticed the crowds are all over the street at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll pass out. They say, like, this guy's crazy. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll take it, Or I'm on a unicycle. They say, the guy's crazy, I'll take it. I'm on an elephant. The guy's crazy, I'll take it. That's how I just figured go for it. And then, I told a story about Jenner, this brother that was in Australia. And, until he was 74 or 77, he passed out booklets. He got saved, and he said, Lord, I'll give you my life. He was a drunken sailor, and he said, I'll give you my life. You get me out of the storm. The Lord saved his soul. And then the rest of his life, he stood on a street corner. He wrote the word eternity on the sidewalk, and he would stop people and interrupt them and give them booklets on the street corner, give them booklets by the hundreds of thousands. That's what he did. And some years later, and I told the story, some years later, a pastor found out, how did you get saved? How did you come to the Lord? How did you come to know the gospel? And they told how this old man interrupted their day, inconvenienced them, and gave them a booklet and said, where will you spend eternity, heaven or hell? And then they went on their way and later got saved, became pastors of several churches, got saved, became leaders of Bible schools that they started, so forth and so on, and it impacted the lives of untold hundreds of thousands. And he never knew. The pastor went and found him before he died and said, do you know what you've done? And he says, he was weeping. I never knew nobody came back and told me. Mm-hmm. So you'll never know how many lives you touch just by going ahead and inconveniencing yourself and inconveniencing somebody else, or leaving it someplace and letting people be saved, come to the knowledge of the Lord and get saved and come to hope, come to true life, come to the answers just by leaving the booklet, let alone passing it out. So that's crowd evangelizing. Sometimes at concerts, like I say, movie lines, I've seen people lined up for a movie, and I'll go ahead and preach. They're not going to get out of line. But and I say, anybody want a booklet? Just give me a booklet. I didn't get you something last Christmas. Forgive me for that. Here you go. And so, that's friendship evangelism. That's crowd evangelism. It's crowd distribution of booklets. Amen.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Pat. We really enjoyed that. I'm sure our viewers and listeners are going to get a lot out of this. We're looking forward to getting the video out. And to all our viewers and listeners, God bless you. We love you so much. Have a wonderful week.
Thanks, Joe.
Bless you, Pat.
Good to see you. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.